revs up the nervous system and my proprioception system and my balance, essentially. So I'm gonna feel that. I'm gonna reach and hold that plank. See if I'm in the right area. And then add that reach. See if I can pick up more of my side body so my top of the body lifts up more towards the ceiling. And then keep active, keep reaching. You might have a lot more challenge from one side to the other. Try that again. Reach it out, lift it up, press more of that shoulder down into the armpit. Let the head be, not that neck not to work. And add that, woo, rocking of the boat. Arm comes down, try that again, press into that elbow, use that reach. You can always do this with one leg over the roller as well, if that works for you. Woohoo! And add that reach, lower the arm down, bend at the knees, hip flat plants. Take that roller, and then let's add right where we were working, half back position, and create that compression and movement into the side of the ribs. So hopefully that was challenging and fun and better than that first cup of coffee. And take that reach, stretch it on out, add that chest to open, and just do what feels good here. Do what feels good. As I'm reaching, I'm never letting my head feel any strain whatsoever. Maybe stimulating, same but different. And the bottom of your skull, so many muscle attachments there. And then let's take the roller. We're gonna bring both hands to cup behind the skull. And let's just pick up the elbow and see if you can pick up the elbow. So we're adding a little bit more flexion here, and then extend it. My hips are in a neutral to a sexy butt position. I'm feeling my butt cheeks on the floor, but then I'm just kind of not changing anything in the hips. I'm keeping them stable, but I'm adding flexibility into my spine as I pick up the elbow and then reach it and create a circle. Picking up the elbow, add that reach to create that circle, and then maybe the roller is, my booty is kind of like millimeters coming back towards me as my roller travels down the back of my body as I lift and lower, lift and lower, and then come back to center. Give yourself a big hug. So this is where the spine and the hips are going in the same direction. So your pelvis is in that tucked position, that uglier butt position, but both are good. Ugly is not bad. It's good to be ugly sometimes, but it's not good to be ugly all the time. So really hug that through. See if you can get the flexion in your neck as well as your spine here. And take a breath. So let's go back to where our roller is on where our bra line is. And I want you to bring your heel slack to your butt cheeks. And I want you to figure out where it is in terms of finding that neutral pelvis. But come someplace where you're feeling the lengthening of your spine, as well as that low back curve, a healthy space in your low back curve. we're putting more demand of the shin bones into the hands, but the heels are slacked. And then take some focused breaths. See if you can feel that engagement in the whole portion of your abdominals. Maybe even engage those lower abdominal muscles. And then we're gonna let go, float the arms out, cup the hands behind your skull, and then I like to wrap my triceps in here, but then I'm dropping onto the toes from one side to the other. And ask yourself, did I feel those abs? Let's try it again. Let's see if we can rev those babies up. Add that focused breath. We're bringing the shins into the hands, hands into the shins. Not using quadricep muscles, but using the pelvis, using the pelvic floor muscles. And then float those hands out, cup the hands behind your skull, and then maybe drop the one foot, especially if you're feeling the work in your core. And if you're not, go back to that just holding of the shins. And then we're gonna drop one nice and slowly. We're gonna drop the other, and as you touch that big toe, make it around. Make it about those ribs becoming more mobile. And then come back to center. This time we're gonna really try to figure out more rib mobility and see if we can work at our end ranges, but keep the connection of the hips. Keep the stability of those hips. Feel the shins pressing through. Invite the shoulders down, spine is long, hips are down. Float those arms out and back. Support the skull, and we're dropping, and then add the movement. See where you can. See if you can feel those ribs pinning against the top of the roller, and then maybe using your opposite hand to press the thigh into the hand. And then add that movement, the opposite direction. Once you feel those ribs kind of pinning to the side, use your fingertips, maybe press through as you're adding that connection to the big toe. See if you can create that stillness. See if you can create that core. Let's try that again. Keep it, like maybe you want to roll it, maybe you want to bring it into a ball this time. Put it together, and then find your neutral. Find where your butt cheeks are connected. Press the shins into the hands. Good times, good times. And then let it go. Hands float back behind the skull. And then we're wrapping toe prints. And I'm like, come on, come on. I'm like, maybe feeling maybe stickiness here, and like really inviting more of the shoulder down. Press that elbow, maybe your hand, whatever works for you. Core, core, core. Working, rocking and rolling. Float it on back. Adding that movement of the ribs, tipping the toe down, maybe getting a little bit more hand to connect where I'm sticky in those ribs. What's easier for you to move, left or right? Add that core. Back to center. And then let's go for the integration. We're gonna stop and drop it down. Drop it down. We're biking it out. Try to feel that head heavy into the hands. Give me 4 more. Twist it out. Wring it out like it's a wet towel. 3 more. 2. What side is easier for you to wring it out? And I want you to hold on the side that's more challenging to wring out. So this is more challenging to wring out for me. And I'm holding, 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 and then back to center. Let it go. That should feel so yummy and delicious. I'm gonna pick up my hips like we were in that mini bridge position, push my heels away, see if I can activate my feet to plant, and then add that spinal extension, reach those elbows, plant the butt this time, and see if that is a good sense for you to, as much as the spine is growing in extension and going long, the butt is on the floor. See if that can work. And then bring those elbows wide, float the shoulders down, chest, that sternum is lifted, but the head is more active in the hands. Let's add a wrench to this. We're going to lift up the hips, make sure that the shirt is not going to get stuck, and then we're pressing into both those feet equally as we extend those legs long, taking the bend out of the knee. Try that again. Add that roller down and up and down and up. And then hold, hold, hold. Add that maybe the roller is more into where you're feeling the bra line, or maybe a little bit below. The higher up you are, the more accessible this might be. The lower you are, you have a lot more weight on the opposite side. But see if we can give yourself a hug, and let's create that spinal flexion. So we're going to flex into the spine. Notice if you have any lightness more on one heel than the other. And then bring the hands back. Maybe add that reach. Maybe you need to bring the spine lower as you add that extension of the spine here. Add that reach. We're in a partial roll up position. So we're going to cup the hands around and then add that hugging through, flex the spine, and then see if you can roll the hips under into that ugly butt position, but see if you can give your heels the evil eye. See, as you give your heels the evil eye, do they energetically slide now towards you? See where that brings you. Feeling the love, feeling the core. Add this cupped hands behind the skull. We're going into spinal lengths. Find that extension of the spine. See if you have any sticky areas here in the back. Use the roller to help stimulate more of the elastin properties of the fascia versus the collagen properties. Let's try that again. Add that big hug. Ugly butt position, flexing in the spine, and then see if you can feel those heels. It's almost like kind of the hip, the leg bone, that femur is like kind of slurping into the hip here. And that really is big time safety. So if we can, and ask yourself, do I feel my core? And then if you can, maybe reach energetically for those ankles, maybe hovering in the back. See where you're at. And then take it back, add that spine extension. All right, this time we're going to try to come up to a fully extension, spinal extension over your body. See if you can come through, but we're here, and then as we hug through, ugly butt position, heels come towards you, and see if you can pick up the back. And then maybe keep the back, and then right here, now I'm going into extension of my spine, and my seat rolls back. So then add maybe bend at your knee.